Hi YouTube, this is Xfiles888, and you're probably wondering why I haven't done a video in probably over a month. So the reason is my computer has been really stupid, as you may have realized in some of my last videos I did. And basically if you know more about computer hardware like I do, my computer has a 1.7 gigahertz processor, and Elgato requires 2 gigahertz, so that's mainly the reason why it wasn't working. But I'm going to jump straight into the video now, and today I'm going to do a video which I wanted to do ever since I did my last video like this, which is American Netflix on PS3 in Canada, and this should work in Canada, and it should work in other areas too. And so yeah, it's similar to how you do it on PS3, DNS server codes and stuff like and that. So that's basically it. And some people may have said it's easier, and it is kind of easier, but mostly it's just quicker than PS3. So that's why people say it's easier, because it's really just quicker. But if you want to see my video on how to get it on PS3, just go over to my channel and do it, and check it out. And here's what I'm going to make a deal with my subscribers. If I get to, let's say 50 subscribers, I'm at 33 right now, I'll make a video on how to get American Netflix on Xbox One. So let's try to get more subscribers, and I'll make that video. As you may have realized with this video and my last video, I am pretty good in telling you how to do this. So right now I'm just going into Netflix to show you what Canadian Netflix looks like. And the biggest difference is you can see how there's my list and then all the other sections, but the biggest one is, which you have to see, is in American Netflix you don't have my list, but videos, so make sure to watch for that when we get into American Netflix. So let's just get out of that, and as it loads back into the home screen. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do is you want to go all the way to the end to settings, then you want to go into system settings, you want to go into network settings, you go into DNS settings, and as you can see at the right side there, it's set to automatic. This is also similar to PS3, where you need to set it to manual. And then these are the codes, well, not these ones that it's showing right now, but the ones I'm putting in are the codes I'm using right now to get American Netflix. But like I said in my PS3 video, they may change when you watch this video, so I will put a link to a blog in my description, which will take you to a website which usually has the most updated codes. Now, the codes I'm using right now are 190.14, so .14 .36 .90 is the primary code, so hit done. And then for the secondary code, it is delete that, it is 109.123 dot 111 dot 24. And then done with that. So then after you've entered that one, so 190.14.36.90 for the primary DNS server code, and for the secondary it's 109.123.111.24 as the secondary. So then when it's done, and then it'll disconnect you from Xbox Live as it reconfigures your Xbox. So then you go back out of that, and then you test your Xbox Live connection, and it says that it will sign you out. And then as it's testing, it may take a little longer than usual because it's reconnecting to the different codes. Mine's pretty quick right now, but it all depends on also your Wi-Fi signal. So just let that do what it needs to do. Takes a while. There goes internet. But yeah, I have grown to like American Netflix more because it does have a lot more titles. But I definitely, or sorry, but I only do it on my PS3 because sometimes DNS codes can slightly mix up the location of your Xbox, which can slightly mix up your friends list. So, yeah. But I do leave it on my PS3 because I use my PS3 less. Okay, so once those have all connected, you just back out, and just let it load, and then you want to go down to your profile and sign back in. Just let that sign in. Okay, there we go. It's done now. So then after that, you make sure you're signed in. Then you go back to Netflix. And it may take a bit longer for your Netflix to load up, and that's just because it has to load all the extra titles that American Netflix has. And that's fine, it's just you gotta wait a bit longer, and it'll only take longer the first time. It may not take as long for me though, because I have used American Netflix on this Xbox before, so it may take longer, but usually it may not take longer, but it usually will take longer than normal for the first time. So just let that load. Okay, now that it's done loading, you go into your profile if you have separate profiles on your Netflix, and just let it load. And then it'll go back to this screen and load again. Just give it a minute. Like I said, it just does it. It's just longer because of the what are they called? The titles. There's a lot more titles. Okay, so right off the bat, you notice how there's no longer no my list, and that's basically for me. That's how I know it's American Netflix, is there won't be a my list option. And then also there's a whole bunch more titles, which is really wicked. Just once you set it up, you'll realize there's a whole bunch more. Just, but yeah, it's pretty good to have or sorry, I don't know what I was saying. It is handy to have this easy to know because you can just switch over to American Netflix. Like if Canadian Netflix doesn't have a movie that you might want, and then if you know how to easily switch over to American Netflix, you can just switch over to American Netflix and see if they have it on there. But if you don't want to know, if you no longer want American Netflix, it's really super easy to get rid of it. So then you just go back to home menu, let it load, and then you go back to settings, system settings, back to network settings, and then you can select your network, and then you go back to configure network, and then you go back down to DNS settings. You can see how it's set to manual, and it has those codes I put in. Those codes are in there. So then you go into there, and it's easy as clicking automatic. It'll disconnect you from Xbox Live while it reconfigures your codes. And you just go back out, test your Xbox Live connection again, which might take a minute because now it's basically reconfiguring DNS codes back to Canadian codes. So just let that do its thing. But yeah, like I mentioned earlier, it is quicker than PS3. And done. Or, sorry, go back. And once you're back at the home menu, you gotta sign in again. So you just go down to your profile, sign in. There, sign in. Signed in, sorry. And then back to Netflix. And again, I haven't really compared times, but it may take a bit longer than before because it has to reconfigure Netflix. So let's see if it takes longer. Okay, so yeah, it didn't take too long. and go back to your profile if you have more than one profile. Then it'll load up again, which I don't know why it doesn't just all load it at the same time. It seems kind of weird. And there, yeah, I think that took less time. But yeah, and then right away again you can see my lists feature is back on there, so you know you're back to Canadian Netflix. But yeah, so that was my video on how to get American Netflix on Xbox 360 in Canada. And I want to say thank you for all the subscribers and all the comments and all the likes on my other, and all the views on my other video on how to get on PS3. That was definitely my most successful video so far. And I'm hoping that this one will attract the same amount of attention. And again, I'm sorry that I haven't posted videos for a while, and that's it. Thanks for watching my video. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, comment on it, ask me questions if you need to, and subscribe. Okay, thanks.